Hello, welcome back to Educator.com. Today we're gonna go over the lesson talking about the speaking skills. What do we have to know about this part of the exam? It's very important to remember that we are gonna have this part, the speaking skills, split in two parts. We will go through a interpersonal speaking part, that is a conversation, and then we will go through a presentational speaking part, that is more as a presentation of an essay or a presentation of a point of view. Both parts should take around 20 minutes. Sorry, not around. It's gonna be just 20 minutes, and they have to be complete. And the total score of it would be the 20% of the total score, meaning the 20% of the total score of the exam. Remember that the exam is gonna be split in different parts. That would be reading comprehension, writing skills, listening skills, and speaking skills. We'll go through different parts here. And this part would take 25%. So it's a considering it. We have to consider this part specifically because if we get this, we would have a quarter of the total score done. The interpersonal speaking. What is interpersonal speaking? In this part, they want to see how able you are to communicate in a simulated conversation. So first of all, you would be given some instructions and an introduction, and then the script of the conversation. Why? The conversation is gonna be recorded both ways. Your lines and the lines of the person that you are supposed to be talking with are recorded. You would have 1 minute to go over the instructions, which are basic. Basically, you would have a box where you have the English and the Spanish instructions, and then you would have the introduction of the situation of the script that you are gonna have ahead. Then you would have 20 seconds to respond, to give every line of your responses. These responses are going to be always just 5 responses in each conversation. You have to complete the time in each response, and you must be able to give the information that you are required by the other person. That is at least. Of course, it means that you have to follow the outline of the conversation. So you would have time to go over the script, and you would have time as well to have the idea of what is the conversation about, what is it talking about, who are you talking with. Some certain things that we will go over in the next lesson, so we can feel confident at the time that we are taking the exam. It has to be easy to be engaged. It means that you are proving how able you are to communicate in this conversation, how able you are to get engaged with the other person that is talking with you, because your answers are going to be recorded and they have to make sense with the other answers that you're having with the person. Of course, as I always said, you don't get stressed on following the rules. Basically, get relaxed, because if you keep following your instinct and your knowledge while listening to the other person, it's going to be pretty easy for you to give the answers and to actually get engaged in the conversation. You need to use expressions, explanations, and strategies to sound natural. You cannot speak as a robot. You cannot give always simple answers and not even giving a tone. You need to get involved in the conversation in a way that you would be if you are talking in real life. That's always the point of the exam. They are always going to be giving you a material and the sources that are real. As I told you since the very beginning, it's all about simulating how can you communicate in real life. So the exam is going to be based on real sources, on real situations. So use real expressions. You get connected with those moments where you can be talking about the different themes. Remember that the exam covers 6 different themes, so how can you develop a conversation over those specific themes and therefore specific topics related to certain themes? There's a lot of ways to have a conversation then, because it's a very general question, a very general topic. It's gonna be fine. You have a lot of knowledge to go over and to pull out from your brain in order to just go smoothly through the conversation. The presentational speaking, as I told you, we have 2 parts, the interpersonal speaking, so a simulated conversation, and the presentational speaking. In this part, It's the structure should be similar to the part that we had in the writing skills in the part 2, which was the essay, the persuasive essay. Why? Because this part is the moment where you have to prove your ability to express the difference between the Spanish culture versus your own culture. You have to express how much you know about the difference between the practice, products, and perspectives of the Hispanic-speaking culture or Hispanic-speaking community against your own community. You would be given as well some other instructions where they will tell you what you have to do and what are you supposed to do with a specific question. The question may sound very specific for you. When I say specific before, I wasn't about something specifically they're asking to you. I said that every question in the practice you would find that is gonna be different, but when I mean that it's not gonna be specific about what you have to answer, I mean that you can embrace that question in a very general way, because there are a lot of aspects that make that idea there are a lot of aspects that you can give from different points of view to express the difference between that situation, that question against your community and the Hispanic community. You will have 4 minutes to prepare, to go over the instructions, to read them, and to prepare your presentation. Remember, this is speaking and not writing. So be careful with how much you want to write down and how much you prefer to go over thinking and having your ideas in mind. You would have then 2 minutes to record your response, to record your answer, to record your presentation. So remember, we would have before in your interpersonal speaking a conversation where you would have time to prepare 2 minutes to prepare the conversation over the script and the instruction, and then you would have 4 minutes to go over the instructions and the question, and then 2 minutes to prepare the answer. So total of 20 minutes. Then language, it should be formal. In these situations, of course, you have to remember where are you talking, who are you talking to, who is the target. That you're going to be able to check it at the very beginning when you have the script. Not only because you are able to know what is the subject of the conversation, so you know if it's something about employment or something about a family trip, but also because by the introduction, you already know what is the situation like. So you can guess. For example, is it going to be you? Is it going to be tú? Or is it going to be a formal you, meaning usted? This is important. Who is the audience? Of course, one of the requirements in this part, what they are going to expect from you in this situation, in this recorded answer, is how clear and organized you are by expressing your ideas. It's a presentation where you have to prove your knowledge of the difference between the Spanish culture and your own culture. So again, when you are showing ideas, when you are both ways, not only speaking but also writing, you need to make sure that you are able to communicate in a coherent way and also cohesive. Mostly, when talking about cohesive, we're talking most of the times about being organized with the ideas, when they make sense, when you express your ideas with a current organization. And not only about expressing ideas, but also to make sure that the structure that you're using to communicate in this situation, it's the right one. Because you would have different parts of the presentation that you have always to stick to them. You have always to stick to, what do I mean? By the introduction, by greetings, the body part with the different ideas, development of ideas, and the closing. This is what I mean when I tell you stay organized and be clear with the ideas that you want to communicate, because otherwise the person is going to be lost, and you or the person who is correcting the exam is going to feel that is engaged in the conversation.